Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Popular Stranger, and we're back with another gameplay video. So this is going to be part 2 of a 3-part series where I go over my defense and everything that I do adjustment-wise. Part 1 went over how to make quick adjustments on defense in Madden 24. Highly recommend going back and watching that video if you didn't before you watch this one, and we will link it down below in the comment section as a pinned comment. Basically, in today's episode or this video, we're going to go over my spinner defense out of the dollar formation and all of the adjustments that I make depending on my opponent's formations and things of that nature. And then part 3 will show you the big nickel over G defense. That video should be out within a week or so. I can't promise it, but that's what we're shooting for. So I do want to start by showing you my defense, and I get it. I have a pretty expensive team. I know everybody's not going to be able to afford every single player that you see on your screen, and some of these players you might not even want, but I just want to go over the abilities and kind of what I look for in this defense that we run. Heavy man coverage. So if we start on my outside cornerbacks, Patrick Surtain, Team of the Year card, Deep Route KO, and Pick Artist. This is going to be good for man coverage only. For Combine DRC, very recommended card if you're going to run this scheme or any type of man coverage scheme. We got Deep Route KO, which is 1 AP, Pick Artist, which is 0 AP, and we also have the 1 step ahead Combine X Factor, which means after 9 plays into the game, that one turns on, and 1 step ahead is like the best man coverage ability. The only problem is it's like 3 AP across the board. So for this one, it's treated as an X Factor, and again, it stays on for the entire game after the first initial 9 plays. A lot of times, I feel comfortable leaving him in one-on-one coverage with 0 safety help over the top because of that 1 step ahead once it's lit up. Now, our inside cornerbacks, you can go whatever route you want to go, but what I prefer is, of course, Pick Artist, and then either flat or mid-zone KO. So Sauce Gardner's Team of the Year card is great for this because he gets that flat zone KO for 0 AP or mid-zone KO for 0 AP. And then we also have Pick Artist. He can get Deep Route KO, but he can't get Deep Route KO plus Pick Artist, so he can play on the outside if you put him out there without Pick Artist. Another really good card in this situation is Weekly Wildcard Patrick Surtain, because he's going to get flat zone KO and Pick Artist together for 0 AP. And then CB number 4 is going to be a little bit less important, but you still want to have a decent guy out there because 4 cornerbacks will be on the field, and if they can have decent speed for the corners 3 and 4, they're going to be blitzing occasionally, if not all the time. That speed will definitely help there. Slay has been perfectly fine in my, somewhat Eagles team on this defense. Josh Williams from the Super Bowl promo has been really good there. Look for a guy who can at least get Pick Artist for 0 AP and has good speed and man coverage. Now, on the back end, the safeties, Ed Reed is one I'm testing out right now, but I think a good option, or one that's made a lot more plays for me compared to Ed Reed, is going to be Combine Justin Simmons. He's going to get Deep Zone KO for 1 AP and Pick Artist for 0 AP. Same thing for Kyle Hamilton. If you can't afford Kyle Hamilton, Jair Brown from the Super Bowl promo, really good. He also gets Deep Zone KO for 1 AP and then Pick Artist for 0. Kyle Hamilton's better because he gets both of those for 0, so it saves a ton of AP. I'm going to go to my specialist screen to show the rest of the defense. So my 2 users are both linebackers. If you want to go with the safety as a sub linebacker, that's fine, but if you're going to use regular linebackers, what I would recommend is Lurk Artist on both of them, so that's what we have on Fred Warner. And then if you can get mid-zone KO for a reasonable AP amount, go that route as well. Fred Warner is amazing because he gets both of those abilities for 0 AP. Devin White, I have to pay 2 AP in total for Lurk Artist and mid-zone KO. The mid-zone's not 100% necessary, so if you do have a guy out there with maybe just Lurk Artist, try to get it on at least one of these 2 guys, the mid-zone KO. And then pass rushers, unstoppable force is the move right now. Brian Burns will not be on my team much longer, so you can look for a guy like AKA Reggie White, Madden Beast from the AKA promo. There's a lot of guys out there that can get unstoppable force. I highly recommend Brian Arakpo. He gets it plus double or nothing for a total of 1 AP. And remember, just like DRC, after 9 plays into the game, unstoppable force is going to light up and stay on for the remainder of the game. And if you can get Warren Sapp at defensive tackle, this is going to be really recommended with that lighted up token. He's going to have unstoppable force the entire game. We also have inside stuff on him for 1 AP and secure tackler for 0 AP. This is almost a must-have card in dollar because you only got 1 defensive tackle, so you are open and vulnerable to the run game. This card will somewhat help you shut it down, not all the time, but really in this defense, we're going to focus a lot on the pass coverage of it. So let's go over to the practice field and show you everything that we do. So So today we're covering spinner and the $3-2 formation. I'm in the Chiefs defensive playbook. I'm going to recommend using this playbook because not only does it have this formation and the plays that we're going to run out of it, but also for part 3 of this video series, it also has big nickel over G, which is going to be the coverage that we cover in that one. And also it has 6-1, which is a wildly popular defense in the game right now. And I think that's why the Chiefs defensive playbook is the best. Let's talk about coach adjustments here. So I like to have, and again, I would recommend doing the same if you're going to run the exact defense that I run. I turn auto flip on. My auto alignment is going to be base. I always put option defense to conservative. This takes away, for the most part, quarterback runs if you run to an opponent that likes to run options. And then for my zone drops, I go 0. We go 20 here for curl flats and then 10 for hooks. And I'll kind of explain why we do that. Also, zone coverage should be by default. Normally when you adjust your zone drops here, that automatically puts zone coverage into default or takes you out of match coverage. So those are all the adjustments that I make. So again, $3-2, and the primary play that I run, you can see I've ran it 5,252 times, is spinner. Now, to the average person that watches me on Twitch, they see me come out and spinner every single play. They think that I run spinner every single play, but I'm making so many different adjustments based on my opponent's formations and tendencies. I'm not going to say I don't run the same play twice every game, but it's not always the same play if you just look at the play art and don't actually pay attention to what I'm doing. So I think it's a good idea to go through a ton of the more popular plays and formations that are in the game right now and kind of mimic exactly what I do to set up defenses against those formations. We'll go over setups against bunch formations first. So one thing to point out is our user is going to alternate based on the formation that the opponent is on. I like to user the linebacker or sub linebacker that's on the same side as the running back, because if they go out for a route, that's our responsibility to cover in this spinner defense. This is what it looks like by default without any adjustments. And if you let it run just like this, you might notice that the tight end over there on the right-hand side would be uncovered and likely be wide open unless the blitz gets home really fast. So the first thing I do to take care of that is hit triangle on PlayStation or to be Y on Xbox, and we're going to press right on our directional pad. That's going to change up the defense, so now this high safety is actually covering the tight end, but he does have to run across the screen to cover him, and in a play like verticals, that's going to be really tough for him to get over there and stop. The next thing I'm going to do is press. Now you got to be careful of press coverage because it's easily beaten. To press coverage, we're going to hit triangle or Y on Xbox and then down on our D-pad. So now this is what our defense looks like. Now you must watch that video on quick adjustments to understand everything else I'm going to do from here, because it's going to get a little confusing, but I'll try to walk through it as slow as I can. And again, if you don't understand the button presses, you need to go watch that video. So my first thing is I need to put Ed Reed in a zone safety, or put him in a zone. So in case we get, we do have one-on-one coverage over here. If DRC gets beat, at least he's going to have safety help over the top. So now the play art's going to look like this. Then I need to take either this linebacker in Devin White or this blitzing corner in Darius Slay and put them on the tight end. Typically, I'm going to set it up like this. And again, you can do all of these quick adjustments without ever having to leave your user, and that's going to give you an advantage there. Now from here, you can run the play like this, and we have that blitzing DB on the left and a blitzing middle linebacker right up the middle. This is a really high pressure scenario. Also, if we're worried about an inside zone run, we're going to have to, pay attention to what the running back does. If we see it's a run play, we want to try to shoot this gap over here. Plus, we already have this blitzing linebacker in Devin White that's going to try to take care of it. So we may need to pursue all the way on the outside. And those are going to be things that I look for against this type of formation and gun bunch. Also, we have our inside stuff in Warren Sapp that will help slow it down as well. But you are going to be vulnerable against the run. It just is what it is. Now, if we're worried about maybe A.J. Brown, number 11 over on the right, running a corner route, another way I adjust this setup is to put our linebacker on A.J. Brown like this, and then put our other safety and a purple over there. So now our user responsibility when they snap the ball is to cover the running back. If the running back doesn't go out, then we need to kind of come up here because we're still open to big plays down the field. Like if 80 over there runs a deep post that goes up and then inside, we're going to be cooked because this safety over here in Ed Reed is really kind of covering the left side of the field. Now, one other thing you can do if you're worried about that left or the middle side of the field and not as much worried about the outside as you can put Ed Reed in a zone like this. So he's going to play more of the middle and to the right. You still have your guy over here covering the corner route, but Christian Watson still can beat a streak and be wide open one-on-one over here. So now when the ball snaps, if you're set up like this, you're going to want to kind of cheat over here to discourage them from throwing it. Sometimes that will make them look away and they'll forget about it, even if this player ends up getting open. So that one you got to be careful with, because again, primarily this is my setup on it, and I rather just user the middle, but you have that option to try to cover that, because another thing is, AJ Brown right up the middle or the top of that bunch, they could put him in a streak. And if this zone corner guy is, our zone safety is covering over here, then, up here is going to be wide open. And then again, that's why putting your left of screen safety or free safety in a zone like that, he'll run over. I'm pointing as if I'm, pointing at the screen. He'll run over and try to cover a streak in that situation. So it's really a big cat and mouse game. A lot of you are probably watching this video like, oh, I would tear this defense up. And you probably could if you're making the right play calls. It's all about the adjustments that you make in game and picking up on the tendencies that your opponent runs. We were kind of cross man there as well. Another setup you can do is have your linebacker on the tight end, and then your blitzing cornerback that normally blitzes on the slot receiver or the top of the bunch receiver. And a lot of times also before they snap, I like to kind of hover around this spot, so when they do snap the ball, then we'll run back and you can see that that blitz is going to go ahead and get in. Now, if you still want to send a little bit of pressure but stop yourself from getting beat over up top, another setup you can use is basically putting both of your safeties in deep zones, but you do have to make sure that the linebacker is manned up on the tight end and that the blitzing slot on the right screen here is manned up on that top of bunch receiver. So now it looks like this. Again, when they snap, your first responsibility is to check for the running back. If not, then you can roam free and try to cover whoever. The running back was open there, but I was just more so trying to show you exactly what we're looking for. The beauty of this defense to me is surprising your opponent on offense. When they think he's blitzing that guy on the left of screen all the time, sometimes you can man him up on the running back right. You can still put your safety up here in a zone to make sure you're not beat one-on-one on the other side. You might want to put, this guy in a hard flat and then this blitzing guy in a curl flat. The hard flat's going to cover that quick route that the tight end usually runs, because we have those 0 hard flats in the vertical hook. That yellow zone is going to drop back roughly about 10 yards. Now this would leave us open to corner routes on the right-hand side deeper down the field, so you may have to run your user over there, but you also have to make sure you're kind of aware of what that tight end is doing, because if he doesn't run over to the flat, then he's somewhere in the middle, maybe a drag over here, maybe a post in the middle of the field, maybe a deep crosser. So you got to pay attention to who is manned up and who's not if you do things like this. But you can kind of change it up. Like, if they're running a bunch of drags, I'll go 2 yellows here and then maybe a purple this way. Sometimes I'll do something like this, but if they throw the running back out there and we're kind of responsible for number 11, then we can get caught off guard. But it's all about picking up the tendencies of exactly what your opponent might be running. One other very popular formation out of bunch is going to be gun bunch strong offset. You actually do not want to run spinner against this defense. You're going to want to run cover 2 man linebacker blitz here. It's basically a cover 2 shell, and there's very minimal setup. A lot of people run wide trail out of it, so that's the play that I'm going to kind of mimic on what I would be going against. If you get against somebody that's more creative out of this formation, it can end up being a long day, but I'd say over the last month or so, this has really worked for me. So we're going to hit triangle and then right on our D-pad. So this guy's going to run over here now. This is a lot different than the spinner because he's in man coverage. He's no longer blitzing. The other thing that I do is my right of safety, a right of screen safety, we're going to put him in a purple. And the main reason we're doing that is to cover that deep corner route over there that's coming from AJ Brown. Now, I will tell you, with Christian Watson, that post one-on-one is probably going to get open. You really want to hope that your D-line eventually gets enough pressure before it does. And because the running back's on the same side of that bunch formation, you're going to want to kind of move your user over here a little bit, because you're going to need to try to shoot the gap if they run that RPO or inside zone play, which is definitely going to be an easy play to run against this defense. I normally run this when I know a lot of, when the people are passing. You can always slide your line over here to try to help against that type of run, but you also definitely need to use this other linebacker or leave this other linebacker in the man coverage against their running back, because this formation, they'll send their running back out on a wheel route a lot of times. So when they snap the ball, mainly what I'm doing is trying to cover this drag right here, because that's what they're looking for. Now, if we're good enough and take away the drag for long enough, we saw that the pressure got home pretty quickly there. If it doesn't, we want to try to bait them into throwing this backside drag on X, which is over here. So you can see how I kind of cheated to the left and then went up to cover the middle of the field, because that tight end is always going to be running that backside kind of angle route, and the purple that we have set up should take away the corner. The only problem, again, is that deep post by Christian Watson. When they run that play, it can get open. So we're hoping that pressure gets there long enough. Luckily, DRC stayed with him, and if they tried to throw that one in that specific situation, it would have been intercepted. But that's kind of the one thing you have to worry about in this defense. So if they're always running that post route, we can still have our purple over here, but our left of screen safety and Ed Reed, we can cheat with him with a little middle zone there. He's going to stay with that deeper post. Now, if they audible and put Christian Watson on a streak, then we're a little bit in trouble. But people tend to run this play stock, and because of that, we can have pretty much everything covered. You're going to go against trips formations a ton. Now, if it's like a trips tight end offset or a Trey Y flex, anything where the trip side has a tight end on the opposite side of it, we're going to show you that setup. If they run something like this where it's the tight ends on the same side as the trip side and there's a single high wide receiver or a lone receiver on the left or right of screen, you're not going to want to run spinner. Again, you're going to want to run cover 2 man blitz in this situation. Let me come out in spinner to show you why I don't like to do it, because if we do our same setup, right, we're going to leave our corner wide or one-on-one over here. Now with DRC in one step ahead, a lot of times you're going to be okay to do this, but they're not going to be able to stop it 100% of the time. So I just like to always have that option for safety help over the top, and that's why I come out in a 2-man under, and usually it's going to be set up like this. So our left of screen that normally blitzes, he's going to be covering the running back. Everybody else is in man coverage. Not saying this is the perfect defense for it, but I just really don't like not having safety help over the top. In this situation, you could guard corner routes like that. You can even put your guy who's supposed to be covering the running back in some type of zone, or if you want to even, put this guy here and user your safety, or sorry, your cornerback, this may throw your opponent off. So when they snap the ball, you're rushing out here to cover this guy. You got somebody covering the middle of the field with that mid-zone knockout. Now, of course, they have forever and a day to make this throw, so you're going to hope that the pass rush gets there. But my main point of bringing this up is in a trips formation where the tight end is on the same side as the trip, or he's part of the trip, you do not want to run spinner. If the tight end's on the opposite side of the formation, the trips formation, business as usual. Triangle and then right on our D-pad, triangle and then down. Again, Y if you're on Xbox. So now it looks like this. So this one you're going to have to really adjust fast because you're going to get quick snapped occasionally. That blitzing corner on the left of screen, he's way too far outside. So what I like to do is quick adjust him into man coverage, and then I like to put our safety again over the top. Now you can also do this if you want to. That's up to you, but number 80 over there on the left, if he runs a streak one-on-one, DRC is occasionally going to get beat. That's why we want one step ahead on our CB number 2. So if he is in man coverage with no safety help over the top, he's going to give us our best likely chance to not get beat, but he still will get beat occasionally. So this is how I most commonly run it. Now, if I'm worried about them running an inside zone here, I'm going to leave our left of screen middle linebacker on that blitz. And again, notice I'm now using Devin White because he's on the same side as the running back. He's still our responsibility. And a lot of times out of this formation, our opponents are going to throw a wheel route on that running back, and we're going to have to chase him all the way upfield. So just be aware of that, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to get beat deep there. Now, people love to run verticals or something similar to verticals where the right of screen tight end is either going to go on a drag, kind of a baby drag like this, or even some type of slant route or post route like that, or like this. If you notice that your opponent is doing that, the main thing you're going going to want to do to take that away is to put this guy, our left of screen linebacker, in a purple zone. So he'll normally cover that. If they decide to run and your guy's in a purple, you're going to have to be really good at shooting the gap with your Devin White linebacker here. You're going to want to hope that inside stuff with Warren Sapp takes care of it. Again, that's why it's very vital to have that ability. Luckily, he also has secure tackler as well, so that's going to be helpful against the lighted up running backs like Bo Jackson, Emmitt Smith, etc. So if they run this play like this, you got to kind of pay attention to, number one, the running back, because if he goes on a wheel route, he's your responsibility all the way up the field. You're going to want to hope then that the D-line pressure gets in or that circle doesn't get open. Everything to the left should be pretty much covered with triangle and square. But when they snap the ball, we got to run with this right away and then kind of cheat over and cover that circle route as well. You know, hoping that the D-line gets home, which it often does. And this is only by sending 4 people. We got the 1 blitzing cornerback and then the 3 down linemen that are going to generate a lot of pressure for us. If you're worried about an RPO like bubble screen to Christian Watson, the one thing you can do is man up him. So you're going to go ahead and go like this with Fred Warner, put him on a man, and then, you know, put him in a zone somewhere. You can even go like a flat zone like this. That's going to kind of cover both of our bases. It's going to leave you open to that run play again, but it's going to take away the bubble screen portion of the RPO. Sometimes they'll run a play like this where that tight end, instead of crossing the screen and going from right to left, he's going to go on an out route or like a corner route if they have, you know, hot route master. Now to take this away, you're going to either have to user it or you can set up like this. We're actually going to put our blitzing cornerback, and I don't know if you can see, but he's actually in man coverage. We put our safety over there in a purple to cover that right-hand side, and we can do something like this to make sure the middle of the field is not wide open in case they run, you know, a deep crosser or some type of deep post. You can also leave Fred Warner over like this, but your responsibility is going to be all around here, and you also have to hope that they don't snap the ball and put some type of wheel route out there. Of course, if it's play action, you're free to roam and, you know, run over here, cheat back into the middle. You can see how quickly this defense is shedding and getting blocks and getting home. It's not always going to be like that. We're just trying to get the best setup to take away those really quick reads and hope that the pressure gets home soon enough. Tight formation is going to be the next thing that you want to learn how to defend. So triangle and then right on your D-pad, triangle and then down. Again, substitute triangle for Y if you're on Xbox. This one can be tricky, right? So a lot of times in these type of formations, these 2x2s, they're either going to want to go to like corner routes or deep posts. So to take away a corner route, we're going to take our left of screen blitzing cornerback, and we're going to put him on A.J. Brown, number 11, and then we're going to want to put our left of screen safety in a purple like this. That's going to leave the middle of the field wide open, so you're going to usually want to put a linebacker in a purple like this, and you still have to worry about if they're going to do the same thing over here. So at this point, you're going to have to pick one side to hope that the AI takes care of, and then the other side, you're going to have to run over. So if we snap the ball, we're going to, you know, kind of chase the running back, but then we got to be worrisome of the corner routes over on the right hand side. People will often run a bench play like this. That's not what I just ran a second ago. So if they snap it, again, we're gonna have to worry about the right of screen side. The zone should take away everything else. Now if they run something like this or something that attacks more up and to the left of the screen, that purple route that we were using specifically to cover the corner route is going to get smoked. So then we kind of treat it as we did with the bunch and the trips formations. We want safety help over the top. So then I'll do something like this where both guys on the left of screen are manned up. Our high safety on the left of screen is going to be playing a deep zone, and maybe you want to put your linebacker in a purple like this or a flat like this to cover the drags. If they run a lot of double drags, and that's meaning like, you know, say A.J. Brown runs from the left of screen over the right in a drag, and then Christian Watson, number 9 on the right of screen, also runs a drag, we can put our other blitzing cornerback into a hard flat as well like this, or a yellow to take it away. But it kind of just gives you both sides to cover. Everybody is still manned up, excluding the running back. Main difference here is that, you know, our safety on the right of screen, Kyle Hamilton, is going to be in man coverage. So we got to kind of pay attention to that. We're still open to getting beat deep over on this side of the field. Sometimes if you want to cheat over, again, you can do like this, like we did in bunch, but I'm going to leave him, you know, normal like this. It's a play action, so we got to run with this. I meant to change it to drags. But it's all about like how creative can you get with the setups. I more so wanted to make this video just showing you the different things that we do to adjust to the various popular formations. In a tight formation, again, you can always just man up both of these slot receivers. Now both of your safeties don't need to play man coverage, and you can drop them in zones like this. You still got your guy blitzing in the middle. You could put him on a purple to cover the corner routes, and then him up on a blue like this to cover the middle of the field. You could put Fred Warner on a purple as well, and now the outside should be taken care of. The deep left should be taken care of. You got to use this. But again, you always have to be worried about the running back and see what routes they're running. A lot of people would love to put Texas routes out there, so you got to try to pay attention and know the difference between what a table route looks like right away versus a angle route. So if they go ahead and run this, we got to make sure that we're covering the middle part of the field here and just hoping that the pressure gets home. I think for the most part, that covers the popular formations. Maybe not exact formations, but you pretty much got a trips, a tight, and a bunch. And regardless of the formation, you're going to kind of see that set up. One other thing is 5 wide. You don't want to run spinner against 5 wide either. It's back to cover 2-man blitz for that. So I usually just go triangle and then right on the D-pad. So it kind of base aligns like that. And then I'm going to use Fred Warner. One thing you can do is put your other linebacker in a purple to cover the right part of the screen on any type of corner routes or long crossers. But you have to realize that your responsibility now is going to be this tight end. If he stays back and blocks, that's fine, but you got to kind of go where he goes and then cheat back to the middle of the field. Obviously, this play is running far too long, but I think my main point of showing that to you was that, geez, he's got forever and a day now. Let's send somebody. Go get him. I just pressed the wrong button on the controller. Usually, the pressure is going to get home in time, so let me try to snap it one more time. I should have sent the tight end out here, but as you can see, he's kind of open over there, but your opponent might not see it because there's so much going on the left. Again, my main reason for showing this is just to let you know I don't trust spinner against a 5 wide. This is the main setup that I have. We'll run a bunch of crazy crossers like this. Your responsibility is going to be the tight end, so when they snap the ball, in this case, I would follow him up the field and then, break to the left because of that crosser, because I know my 2 high deep safeties are normally going to be there on the back end, and by the time the ball gets there, they're there, to make a play. I don't know why they're getting so much time in 5 wide here. But yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully I wasn't all over the place. You guys know I don't normally do videos like this, but those are the things that I look for in specific situations. This is not a defense where you can just set it up and let it go and you're going to, have success all the time. You got to pick up on tendencies of what your opponent's running and what everybody's running, because when you see a certain formation, you already kind of have an idea of what exactly you're about to do. And I think that's where the beauty of what I just taught you comes in once you're able to pick up on those things. Again, part 3 will cover the big nickel over G setups, where it's 4 down linemen, 3 cornerbacks, and 2 safeties. It's a little bit better of pressure and more so often a better way against run coverages or run offenses while you're still sending pressure when they do decide to pass. If you're facing somebody that's in single back or I form, you do not want to come out and spinner, because it's not going to be good against the run. This is primarily pass rush and pass coverage defense. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.